Now I'm going to talk a little bit about tomorrow and this storm that we're all anticipating and preparing for. I'm joined tonight by Transportation Secretary Jamie Tesler, Highway Administrator Jonathan Gulliver, Energy Environmental Affairs Secretary Katie Theoharides, and MEMA Director Don Brantley. Our administration, like many others, has been monitoring the forecast with the National Weather Service. Given the hazardous travel conditions that will be created by the storm, we are urging people to stay off the roads tomorrow if they can, especially during the morning commute. We've instructed non-emergency state employees to work remotely on Friday, and we urge other employers to be flexible and to allow their employees to telework if possible. Snowfall is expected to begin overnight tonight and come down at about 1 inch per hour across much of the state at times, especially during the morning commute. By the end of the day Friday, some pockets of northern Massachusetts may see close to 1 foot of snow. The timing of this storm will make travel conditions especially difficult throughout the day on Friday and primarily during the morning commute. MassDOT is out right now pre-treating roadways and is preparing snow and ice equipment across the state. In total, they have approximately 3,500 pieces of state and vendor equipment available, including over 1,000 plow and spreader combos, 2,000 plows, and 460 front-end loaders. The T is also preparing for the storm and is planning to run snow trains throughout the night and into tomorrow. Secretary Tesler will go into more detail about this in a minute. Once again, conditions for tomorrow's morning commute are going to be hazardous. If it's possible for people to stay off the roads, we would ask that they do so. If you travel, please leave yourself extra time and take it slow, and give the road crews plenty of space to do their work. The forecast also calls for a significant drop in temperatures later in the day tomorrow. That will create a risk of flash freezing and icy conditions, especially in parts of the state that get more rain and sleet. If you're traveling tomorrow afternoon and evening, please be careful and expect that icy roads will be with you in certain areas, especially those along the South Coast and the South Shore, and on the Cape and the islands. Additionally, the potential for wet, heavy snow may cause power outages in some parts of Massachusetts. While we certainly don't expect power outages on the scale of the past few storms, we are coordinating with the utility companies to prepare for that, and Secretary Theoharides will talk more about that in a minute. This winter, and generally speaking, this kind of storm is nothing new for Massachusetts because we've been through this before. But that said, it's important that we take this one seriously, especially given the very difficult travel conditions it will create tomorrow morning. Once again, for the third time, if you can stay off the roads, especially during the morning, so that the crews can do their work, and if you're able to work remotely, please do so. And if you must go out, please take it slow. And remember to check in if you can on your neighbors and offer to help them if you think they would need your help. And with that, I will turn it over to Secretary Tesler.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about some steps MassDOT and the MBTA are taking to prepare for the storm overnight, tonight, and into tomorrow. As you've heard, conditions and snowfall accumulations will vary in severity over the various regions of Massachusetts, but all regions should expect to experience weather conditions that will make travel challenging, especially during the morning commute. We should take the storm seriously. This is a long-duration storm with the worst of it in the AM peak and continuing throughout the day. People are encouraged to plan ahead and stay at home if possible. With that said, MassDOT and the MBTA are well prepared and we are ready for this storm. At its peak tomorrow, I expect that we will have between 3,000 to 3,500 pieces of equipment deployed. And although we are not enacting any truck restrictions in advance, I expect that there may be some restriction put in place tomorrow depending on the conditions, so we ask that truck drivers and delivery services plan ahead. Forecasters are expecting temperatures to drop late tomorrow afternoon and have advised that a flash freeze is possible. MassDOT will be actively treating the roadways to reduce icing. However, Drivers should be on the lookout for slippery spots and black ice, especially on secondary roadways. The MBTA and Keolis are also closely monitoring the forecasts and adapting to any changing conditions or updated forecasts. Equipment is pre-positioned and crews are ready. While we will be working around the clock until cleanup is completed, I would ask that all transit customers to use caution on the platforms and bus stops. The MBTA will be operating non-passenger trains overnight tonight to keep the tracks clear and to look for any trees or branches that pose a threat. In addition, to prevent damage to the 75-year-old trolleys, service on the Mattapan line will be suspended on Friday. Buses will provide replacement service while rail is suspended. On all subway lines on the MBTA, we anticipate operating regular weekday schedule. As conditions worsen, some bus routes may need to operate their snow routes and will be rerouted to avoid steep hills, tight corners, and narrow streets. During the storm, the MBTA will post a T-alert for each bus line that's running it on its snow route if we need to switch to those. More information on snow routes is at mbta.com/winter. The commuter rail will operate a regular weekday schedule on all lines. Customers should continue to regularly check T-alerts and Twitter. Service changes may be made as weather conditions warrant. The Massachusetts Registry of Motor Vehicles will be closing all service centers tomorrow due to the conditions. And at the airport, Massport advises travelers flying to check with their airline for the best information about their flight and to reschedule their flight as needed. Massport is expecting domestic airlines will significantly reduce their schedules, if not totally cancel their morning flights, but possibly resume in the afternoon. We will be working our hardest to get this storm cleared as quickly and as safely as possible. And we want to thank the public in advance for their cooperation to keep our roadways safe. We appreciate everyone making safe decisions so we can focus on clearing and treating the roads throughout the state. And at this time, I'm going to ask Secretary Fiola to take over.
Thank you, Secretary Tessler. At Energy and Environmental Affairs, we continue to monitor the weather conditions of the storm. We are not anticipating large numbers of power outages similar to the last storm because the wind is not expected to be as high. However, the Department of Public Utilities is in close contact with Eversource, National Grid, and Unitil, who are all monitoring the forecast and have brought in external resources to be sure we're prepared to respond to the scattered power outages that we do expect tomorrow. Crews are pre-staged on the Cape and Islands and other critical areas ahead of the storm, and companies are prepared to respond to what will be a busy day tomorrow in terms of restoring the scattered outages across the state. We should note that travel conditions may affect restoration times, so as the roads clear and the crews are able to get out, we should see any power outages getting resolved throughout the day. As a reminder, please don't go near downed wires. We say this every time there's a storm. It's very important. Leave downed wires alone. We're not expecting significant coastal impacts with this storm, and our Department of Conservation and Recreation will be clearing roads and parkways and mirroring parking bans at the local level throughout the storm. We expect those to go into effect overnight and stay through the duration of the snow. Recreational facilities tomorrow at the Department of Conservation and Recreation are expected to be open, but please call ahead to ensure that they have not changed due to changing weather conditions. And again, if you must go out, we urge travelers to use extreme caution on the roadways. Thank you very much, and I will turn it over to MEMA Director Don Brantley.
Thank you, Secretary. As the Secretary mentioned, we're not expecting significant power outages, but it is always a possibility. MEMA is monitoring the storm and is prepared to activate the state's Emergency Operations Center if needed. If you haven't already done so, there is still time to take some basic steps and gather some supplies to prepare before the snow arrives early tomorrow morning. Keep your cell phone and laptop and other electronics fully charged. Have flashlights, batteries, and other supplies that you may need in case you do lose power. If you lose power and have an emergency generator, make sure you have fuel and know how to operate it safely. Generators should be operated at least 20 feet from your home, downwind, and away from open doors, windows, or vents. Ensure that your smoke and carbon monoxide alarms are working and have fresh batteries. And finally, be a good neighbor. Please check in on family, friends, and neighbors who may need your assistance before, during, and after the storm. And when it's time to dig out, if you have a fire hydrant nearby, help your local fire department and your neighbors by shoveling it out. You can find more winter storm safety tips at mass.gov/snow.